You know, I still remember that afternoon like it was yesterday. I'd just killed the engine after a grueling shift at my little garage setup, hands reeking of grease and that sweet, sharp tang of motor oil clinging to my shirt, and with one flick of the remote, the door rolls up, sunlight pouring in like a spotlight on my pride and joy. This '67 Ford Mustang GT, I'd poured my soul into restoring over nearly 2 years, turning a hunk of rust into something gleaming, almost alive, with that deep cherry red paint sucking in the light and those chrome accents flashing back at the world. Then bam, this ear-splitting shriek slices through the air. That man's stealing my car. Call 911 right now. And there she comes barreling across the lawn, my neighbor Karen Wilkins, HOA Queen Bee, phone glued to her ear, spitting fire like I'd just torched her prized rose bushes, while I'm standing right there on my own driveway, keys dangling from my fingers, thinking, what in the hell is going on? I'm Alex Thompson, 34 now. But back then, I was fresh off quitting my steady gig as an automotive engineer to chase this dream of fixing up classic rides in my suburban garage out here in Willow Creek. And that Mustang wasn't just any project. It was my old man's legacy, John Thompson, a gearhead through and through who'd hustled on the drag strips back in the day. Left it to me when he passed too young at 48 from what they called a freak racing mishap. When I was just a kid, he'd started the restore, but life got in the way. And for me, every wrench turn, every panel beat straight, it was like whispering to him across the years. You know, finishing what he couldn't, feeling his rough laugh in the rumble of that engine. But Karen, oh man, she was the type that gave HOAs their bad rap. Mid-40s with that sharp auburn bob always perfect. Phone like a scepter. Running her side hustle as a high-end auto dealer, always sniffing around like she owned the block. Measuring lawns with a tape measure, citing folks for the tiniest infractions, and she'd zero in on me every time I fired up the Mustang, clipboard waving, voice like nails on chalkboard. This is residential, not commercial. You're disrupting the peace. So there she is, flinging herself at the cops as their sirens fade in, waving some paper like it's holy writ. Officers, thank God. She's got the bill of sale right here for my client in Arizona. That's a '67 Mustang GT, serial numbers match. He stole it. And her eyes on my car, not just angry, but hungry, like she was starving for it, rattling off specs. The 390 big block, the 4-speed tranny, even the custom headers I'd bolted on last week, with this eerie precision that made my skin crawl, like she'd been studying it in secret. Officer Ramirez, this burly guy with world-weary eyes, steps up. Sir, mind showing us your papers? While his partner snaps pics, and Karen's narrating like a bad auctioneer, but I hand over my title registration, all clean with my name stamped clear, yet she's got this fake bill showing some guy named Richard Hayes bought it from her for 80 grand just days ago. And Ramirez scratches his head. This is weird, ma'am. His docs show long-term ownership. Can you prove possession, Mr. Thompson? And I grin inside because if she wants to tango, I've got the moves. My dad was paranoid about thieves from his racing circles, so that Mustang had secrets baked in. Pop the hood, officer. You'll see Jay. Thompson 92 scratched right into the block. Our old address, too. And as we lift it, Karen's face drains to ghost white, stammering, well, maybe a mix-up. Her swagger crumbling like cheap plaster, but Ramirez ain't buying. Ma'am, we're gonna need more on this sale. Head to the station. And as they roll out, she hisses at me. Fine. But I'm calling my attorney and Victor Hayes on this. We'll see how cocky you are dealing with real players. And I spot this drone buzzing just beyond the trees. No neighbors I know fly those. And Karen glances up quick, then away. But that odd vibe lingers. Like this ain't just HOA pettiness. It's something deeper, colder. That night, doubt creeps in. Why me? Why now? Karen's always been a pain, but faking docs to snag my ride? It hits my gut. This car tying me to Dad, and her trying to rip it away feels like grave robbing. I call my sister Sarah first thing next morning. She's the sharp one, 30, wrapping up her clerkship at a downtown firm, always ribbing me about my greasy hobby. But after I spill the drama, she's all in. Alex, that's nuts. Normal folks don't pull stunts like that unless they're desperate or part of something bigger. And we decide to play smart. Let the cops impound the Mustang temporary-like. Make her think she's winning while I dig. What I don't tell him is Dad's hidden GPS from his paranoid days. Plus, I slap on another tracker under the bumper, tiny as a bolt, and start piecing it together. Karen's Facebook screams high life she can't afford on HOA dues. designer bags, swanky dinners, auctions in Vegas and Miami. And Sarah pulls records showing she bounced from Hayes Realty, owned by Victor Hayes, this slick city council bigwig. And get this, she left Shady, right as she grabbed HOA reins here in Willow Creek, where Victor's been flipping properties like pancakes, using his pull to zone deals his way. And suddenly her beef with me clicks. Not just noise complaints, but my garage sitting on prime land he eyes for condos, and that Mustang? Pure bonus in her debt-riddled world, owing big to overseas auto flips, Victor pulling strings, 'cause Dad, back in '92 at the auto plant, flagged Victor's sloppy QA sign-offs on bad parts that could have crashed trucks, threatened his rise, and Victor's grudge festered, using Karen as pawn to settle old scores while lining pockets. The plot thickens when I find a bug in my bushes. Cheap online spy gear aimed at my driveway, explaining her spec knowledge. She'd eavesdropped on my supplier calls, my chats with Sarah about the restore. Creepy as hell. Then she lists my Mustang online, her pics snapped sneaky in my garage, asking $90K for a pristine tribute ride, bold as brass. And Sarah uncovers Karen's $250K debts tied to Victor's shell companies, a web of loans making her his puppet. Neighbors start whispering. Tom Jenkins, retired PI down the block, knocks one evening. Saw the circus, Alex. Victor's poked at my old bikes 3 times last year. Then Karen slaps me with violations out of nowhere. And Mike Sullivan, our electrician, she wanted me wiring spy cams in common areas, pro-grade stuff for tracking rides, and old misses. Henderson calls, shaky-voiced. Victor's grilled me on my hubby's 25 Baldwin piano. New mods only we did. How, unless he's digging deep? It's a racket. Victor IDs valuables via council access. Karen pressures with HOA BS till folks sell cheap. Then they ship overseas for fat profits. My Mustang the latest prize, but with Dad's old beef. Personal payback. The GPS pings late night. The car's rolling, not from impound but a warehouse 15 miles out. Edgewood storage, crammed with classics like Mrs. Henderson's piano under tarps. Tom's Harley's crated. Sarah loops in Fed agent Lisa Grant from Customs. This fits export scams we've chased. Local power players fencing heritage stuff abroad. And we tail Karen to the port, heart pounding as she oversees loading my Mustang into a container for Dubai. Victor calling me mid-stakeout, voice silky smooth. Alex, time we chat about your dad and old loose ends. He wasn't the saint you idolized, those reports. Covering his ass, planning to bolt with hush money, leave you high and dry. Twisting the knife, making me question everything. Dad's stress those last weeks. But Sarah grabs my arm. He's gaslighting, don't bite. And as workers hoist the car, Grant whispers, wait for the commit. That's federal trafficking. Dawn breaks chaotic. Go time! Grant radios, feds swarm the dock, spotlights blazing, Karen freezes clipboard in hand, manifests listing my ride plus 8 others from ripped-off neighborhoods, and she crumbles, knees buckling on cold concrete. I didn't want this. Victor forced me, said he'd ruin me. He's got dirt on everyone, tapes, pics. You don't know his reach. Sobbing real now. No more queen bee snarl. Just a broken woman spilling Victor's 5-year empire. 12 communities rigged with coerced HOA heads, targeting widows, debtors, using blackmail like chains. Inside the container, it's a thief's museum. Piano padded for Germany, bikes for Japan, even Mike's dad's rare clocks cataloged neat. And as Victor pulls up cocky in his Lexus, Grant meets him halfway, shoving evidence, his shoulders slump, lawyer's bluster fading. But he asks for me, cuffed and ordinary now. Your dad found my shortcuts in '92, could have tanked me, but his accident saved that. Turns out he aimed to extort me, just like I do now. Apple don't fall far, huh? Grinning icy, but Grant cuts in. Zip it, Hayes. And as they haul him, he yells, ask Sarah about the lockbox, your dad's secrets. Ride home silent, victory bittersweet. Raids net $40 million in loot. Victor's files expose his web, but his jab stings. Sarah fetches Dad's old lockbox, and inside, not dirt, but gold, tapes of Victor threatening him. Back off those reports or accidents happen to nosy types. And Dad's unsent FBI letter. If I'm gone suspicious, know I fought for right, not running like he claims. Want my kids in a world where bullies pay. Proving he was the hero, dying for integrity. Closing that wound after 30 years. 1 year on, Willow Creek's healed stronger. Victor's rotting with life no parole. Karen's pulling 7 but cooperating. Communities scrapped corrupt HOAs for fair councils. Sarah's law firm booms on elder rights, suing Victor's estate for Mrs. Henderson's foundation against fraud. Tom's heading our new council. Mike's security biz thrives, protecting collectors. Agent Grant's task force busted 10 more rings. Me? I finished Dad's Mustang true to his sketches, added a plaque for John Thompson, who stood tall, and opened the John Thompson Auto Skills Center, teaching kids trades, first-class landing jobs, waiting list miles long. And that car? Star of shows, symbol of grit. But here's the thing that nags. Was Victor's empire just greed, or did Dad's old stand really spark his villain arc, making this payback poetic or just cycle of hurt? Makes you wonder if justice ever fully erases scars, or if grudges simmer forever. What about you? Ever had a neighbor pull crap like that, or faced down a bully with power? Drop in comments. Was I right to fight tooth and nail, or should I have sold and walked? Share your take on community drama. Hit like if this hooked you. Subscribe for more real talk tales where underdogs bite back. Let's chat.